Good day, and welcome to a new vlog. This vlog isn't sponsored, but you may get something about Squarespace popping up either before or after or during this video in a rather annoying way. Anyway, I thought I would do another vlog since I'm home again, and as we've discovered, I can't actually do vlogs when I'm out working. So here I am back in studio space, ready to catch you up on all that's been happening in Mikey world. This one's quite an interesting one though, in fairness, because I've covered quite a lot of ground since the last time I spoke to the camera. I went on a trek of Wales, which was quite interesting, and specifically the sort of southwestern region of Wales. As before, I'm shooting the BBC programme Antiques Road Trip, and as part of the Antiques Road Trip, out with the purchasing and selling of antiques, they like to get the experts to do some sort of project or some sort of doing piece to split up the episode. So they invariably involve visits of some description, some sort of local landmark or local skill set or something that is relative to the area that they're filming in or that they're shopping in, basically. So when I was in Wales, I was quite lucky to get involved in a few things, actually, to be honest. And as a filmmaker or indeed a cameraman and a drone pilot, I figured that these would probably sit in quite well with my narrative I'm going to throw out in this video. It's about flying drones again, but not so much the actual flying of the drone, perhaps more about and not even so much the law, courtesy, common courtesy, and just abiding by rules that other people have set out. I'll clarify that shortly. My trip took me around Wales, and I finished in Swansea, and then I had a few days off. On my few days off, I was staying in Bristol. And rather than trek all the way back home to Scotland, which is a fair trek, I decided just to stay put in Bristol because I had work there to do as part of the show. But while I'm on there, my Todd, I may as well take my camera and go and investigate. So I went into Bristol, and I did, with great intentions, try and do a vlog, which I did record, but for some bizarre reason, well no, actually it's not a bizarre reason at all, it's actually just me, vlogging issues, we'll call it. So yeah, Bristol, great little place, and well, check it out for yourself.
Saying nothing but love, but it gets under your skin. tell me, cause you know I leak it. You and I ain't friends, so stop shit. Go in me, I'm getting loud, I'm getting free. There's no escaping that, I'm almost out of my head. Pack your bags and leave. You have caused me too much grief. I'm getting loud, I'm getting free. There's no escaping that, I'm almost out of my
Anyway, I digress. Bristol was where I went after my Wales visit. But while I was in Wales and surrounding neck of the world, I managed to tick off a few boxes. One was cockle farming. Now, well, I say farming, it's more picking rather than farming. But down at the Llanelli part of the world, I'm not entirely sure I'm going to pronounce this right, but anyway, the estuary there where a lot of cockle picking happens, and it's been happening there for hundreds of years. The second one was badminton. Yeah, I know. We did a visit to Badminton, and it was more about the history of badminton on where it started from, how it evolved into the current game that you know it is now. And I was asked if I would fly the drone inside. Now, ordinarily, I have to ask for these permissions to say, oh, listen, I've had this idea and we'd quite like to use a moving camera for this. And they would say no, or there'd be a lot of haggling and talking. And but in this respect, I was told, oh man, you should totally do it. So I did cockles and badminton. The other thing I did while I was in Wales was filming on the coast at the Atlantic College about RIBs. That's the rigid inflatable boats that you would see the RNLI and various other maritime organisations using. And it was the history of the RIB. And you can imagine the drone would be invaluable for such a shoot. Although we had our expert out on a boat and we had these guys from the college and RNLI guys there in the boat and had our expert there, we also had a cameraman in the boat, and then he switched to a secondary boat, so you had that then to film the sort of the main boat. Once they did all their interviews and pieced the cameras and all the different setups, it was then my job to film the rest of it from the air. The other task that I was filming, which takes it back indoors, so I've done two outdoors, one indoor, and another one is an indoor one, but this time is a sport called Bandy. Basically, speed skaters on ice with a stick that's kind of like a hockey stick, not an ice hockey stick, because it doesn't have the big flat edge on it, more of a rounded edge, so no sharp ends, so you can hit somebody with, and it's a ball instead of a puck. And speed skaters then play around this ice and try and score goals. But the main thing here again is that the drone was used in an indoor setting in an ice rink. I have never filmed there before, and similar to the badminton, there was so many things I had to think about. The health and safety aspect is exactly the same as any filming aspect, inside or outside. You have to control your environment and control who's in it, and you have to be able to put practices in place that make sure nobody gets hurt as a result of the filming process. I mean, even for the guy that was filming on the camera, on the sticks, on the ice, we had to put a little carpet down rather than, there's no point putting ice skates on. You may as well just keep your trainers on and stay on the ice, but you have to make sure you don't flip over all this thousands of pounds worth of equipment. The drone's not any different. Because you've got to operate the camera, you've got to operate the drone, but you've got to be mindful of your environment, make sure your camera, your frame and everything's set up, and then you've got to fly while there's people on ice going around trying to score goals. It's quite an interesting concept. purpose of me telling you all of this is in relation to a post I've seen online. And basically, in the modern day, filming and drones are becoming ever more popular, but the more popular it comes with its issues, because although there are your groups of people as your novice, your beginners, your intermediates, your experts, commercial, and then you kind of keep going up till you get to the end game, basically your higher state of ability. You do have these other intermediate stages where people are either learning or getting better. In particular, what I saw online was a sign that had been put up in a village stating that if you were going to be filming at a commercial level, you'd have to ask permission to film there. And if you had a drone, you did not have permission to take off and land. Through a little bit of investigation, it turned out that the actual village in question is actually privately owned and is owned by a trust and an individual. So that village is being treated as like any house would be, and rightly so. If you lived in that house, or indeed this village, you wouldn't want just some random filming your house. So the sign is there as an informational guide and a deterrent, if you will, but quite nicely put at the bottom that if you wish to discuss any sort of filming or whatever's going on there was a number for you to call. Now, I personally don't see any issue with that. That is just somebody who's just maybe not 100% aware of the rules from the CAA's point of view, and is a little bit aware of the land ownership rules and the privacy laws, and has put a sign up just saying, listen, we're not saying that if you're down here with your kids and your dog and having a bit of fun, and you shouldn't take your mobile phone out and take a snap of the fun times. What we're saying is that if you're going to come down here with your gimbal and your drone and your camera set up and all your ND filters and polarizers and such like, and you're going to set up and sit there for a couple of hours and take some award-winning photo and then try and sell it online, I think they're just wanting to really be looped in on it, I think, especially if you lived in a house. I mean, the woman that owns the house that was used in the Goonies had to get an injunction put out to stop people just randomly walking up to her house and taking photographs of it, because okay, it's an iconic house in a film, but it's still somebody's house at the end of the day, and I'm pretty sure the owners of said house would respect you much more if you went and banged on the door and said, excuse me, big fan of the film, can I take a photo of the house? And you'd be like, yeah, no problem. So this sign is effectively doing the same. Now, where I've taken umbrage to this is the fact that the sign was then discussed on a private forum for private users, so it's not in the public domain, so to speak. But every single one of them kind of mocked it, saying that it was ridiculous and that they could do what they want, and that they tried to find a between the lines aspect of the sign that was there, saying, oh, you could just take off with your drone from a public road and you could fly around, you can still take a photograph, there's nothing they can do about it, and all that nonsense. And all that tells me is that these wannabes aren't really taking it seriously, and they're the ones that are giving anybody with a shred of decency a bad name. And I got annoyed with this because I've subsequently left the group, because I feel as if I don't want to be a part of something like that, because one of the members had phoned the phone number on the sign to speak to the landowner, and it said, listen, we're a specific group of drone pilots and we figured you would give us leeway, and spoke on behalf of everybody. And I was annoyed for two reasons. One, nobody speaks on behalf of me in any group, in any social media land, with people I've never met before, because I don't want some random speaking on my behalf, and I don't know his credentials, I don't know what his abilities are, I don't know who he is. Second of all, it's quite embarrassing, because the sign was very self-explanatory, and what it was telling you was what you could and couldn't do. It wasn't telling you couldn't do it, it was telling you the things you couldn't do. But there were things you could do, and the sign was very explicit about that. So all that means is that it's that rage read. I call it rage read. So they just read the bits they want to, and then they go kick off about it, and then they've completely missed the whole point. And social media is really, really bad for that. Just recently, on my return home, and this is a good way to finish this video off, I was walking around the town with my son in his little pushchair. He was up early. I was up early. We go and grab some coffee, take advantage of the nice weather, walk along the front. Now in Oban there's two piers, there's South Pier and there's a North Pier, and there's a bay in the middle, and a lot of people walk along that. And you go around onto the North Pier, there's some really nice boats there that are coming in to do the drop off, pick up some food, all the kind of charters and all that kind of stuff. So you always get to see something nice. On this occasion, I seen a guy with a drone. Now that's not unusual these days. Boot the car open, Mavic 2 Pro, sitting outside, on the just at the rear of the car. Now, first, that is a public car park, but it is a pay and display car park, which is owned by the council. And council land is not public land. It's, you know, there is an ownership there. But even that, you can go further before that. This is a man with a drone. He's just parked it right in the middle of the car park. So as in the thoroughfare of cars. So he could have drove over his drone. So he's standing with his drone on the ground. And rotors are going, by the way. So there's no cordon, there's no nothing. He's just, you know, it's very, very nonchalantly drone out, switched on, putting it on. And I'm walking with my kid. Now the drone could have went up at any moment, for whatever reason, wind, draft, gust, his inability to fly, we don't know. They could have flew in our direction because we were 10 feet from him. He doesn't know his drone code. Anyway, I could have got up in his face and started giving him a hard time. What I did say to him though was, dude, I wouldn't fly that from here. And he looked at me and said, oh, he says, I wasn't going to fly much more than 40 metres. And I'm like, flying up's not the problem, taking off's your problem. Said, you've got, there's a harbour master on here, it's council. If they see you, they could take exception to the fact you're also in a public car park surrounded by children, cars, holiday makers, and just general people eating ice cream. And here you've just put your drone on the deck and you're just going to throw it up in the air. It's not very thoughtful of you. I think being challenged made him think about it. And I mean, I was being nice about it. I wasn't giving him a hard time about it. I was just really merely pointing out some facts that I don't think he'd really taken into consideration. Let alone that, you know, the height he was going to fly at was fine, but he was not local. He wasn't from the area. He was unaware of the fact that the Lighthouse Board have a helicopter pad right across the pier. He was also unaware of the hospital at the top of the town, which also has a helipad, and we have some busy helicopter traffic coming in and out here. Anyway, my point being was that I was nice enough to explain this to him. He took it on board, and he was, you know, he apologised. I said, "You no need to apologise to me. Just bear these facts in mind. At the end of the day, you can tell me to get to and do it anyway. There's nothing I can do about it. You know, I could phone the police. What are they going to do about it?" So it's more about a common courtesy. It's more about just understanding your environment, understanding your technology, and understanding the wants of other people. I mean, I want the guy to get that shot of Oban from the water. It's a great shot, especially when the sun's in the right place. You know, there's a lot going on here, but you just have to do it kind of a bit more thoughtfully. Anyway, thanks for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed the cinematics. Like it if you like the video, subscribe if you haven't already, and just bear in mind your surroundings. Just, you know, look out for each other. We're all here, hobbyists, professionals alike, and we all want the same goal, and we all want to get that shot. Just don't stand over everybody to get it. Just be cool and be safe.